Hi, I'm Dan Danford, and this is another episode of Money Made Easy for dadsdivorce.com. We're just talking about some basics, back to the basics this week. One of the questions I hear from people is, why invest? Okay, and I guess the question here is the difference between savings and investing. Okay, if we're just saving, what we're really doing is just setting some money aside from each paycheck to accumulate to be used later on. Okay, investing is different only in that you're hoping that the money you invest in something will grow to more value. Okay, so I guess that's the bottom line. There's two different parts. One is the discipline of setting money aside. Then the second part is, now that I've got money, what should I do with it so that I can prosper? Okay, so there are a couple of different issues about growing money. First of all, the only reason to invest in anything is that it offers potential rewards. Okay, now just saving money, wherever you save it, whether it's a coffee can or in the bank or whatever it is, okay, it has very limited potential to grow in value. Okay, but if you take that same money and you put it into something else, and I don't care what it is, if you buy a gold coin, say, or you use it towards equity in your home, or if you buy a painting or a car, you're hoping that over time that money in that new object that you bought will hold its value and maybe even grow in value. Certainly the case in recent history of putting money into a home. Okay, all of us buy a home because we need a place to stay, but we also hope that over time that home will go up in value. Okay, well, that's basically what you're doing anytime you invest, whether you're buying a stock or a bond or something else. You're hoping that that investment will help you grow value over time. Couple of reasons to do this. Number one is you hope that the potential for growth is more than if you just put the money in a coffee can. Okay? Another reason is that by being very deliberate in the kinds of things you invest in, you can actually make your life better through diversification. You can actually create a level of safety that you can't with the coffee can. Okay? All of us have heard stories about classic one that I heard and many people my age heard was after World War II, when you were in Europe and people be pushing around wheelbarrows full of money because the money had been devalued so bad. Well, we don't hear about that a lot today, but inflation really does happen, even if it's a modest 2 or 3% a year. Well, if your money is in a coffee can and it loses buying power every year, then that is just a risk of having money in a coffee can or maybe even in the bank. But if you take that same money and you put some of it in stocks and some of it in bonds and some of it in real estate, it's doubtful that all of those things will lose money at any point in time. When I talk to older people, sometimes they talk to me about investing and how scary it is because they know their grandpa lost everything in the Depression, say. Okay, well, I understand that. That was a very real occurrence. But one of the reasons why Grandpa lost everything in the Depression was everything he owned was in his farm. Okay? The farm went belly up, and so he lost everything. Well, today, with mutual funds and stocks and bonds and things like that, most advisors would tell you not to put all your money in one place. Investing allows you to do that, to spread your money around to various things, hopefully will help you enhance value over time. Savings alone, and this is a huge problem, is savings alone won't help you accomplish long-term objectives. And that's one of the big issues. I tell people today, nobody would buy stocks unless they had to. And I think there's probably truth to that. Stocks are so volatile that a lot of people aren't comfortable with stocks. And yet the return on stocks is much higher than it is on other asset classes, or has been historically. So one of the arguments is, if you want to have enough money for retirement, which is 20 or 30 or 40 years down the road, you need to have some components of those higher earning assets in your portfolio. Now, it doesn't have to be the whole portfolio, but it needs to be part of it so that you can accomplish your objectives. And therein lies the crux of the matter, and that is, if you're just putting money in a coffee can or a savings account, it will probably never accumulate to the amount you need for your family goals. Whether it's retirement or college or buying a new house or buying a new car, any of those things probably won't accumulate to the levels you need without an investment component. And the last thing, I'll appeal to your patriotism just a little bit. And I know, I'm not going to get into a lengthy discussion about economics or anything, but when you invest, especially in financial assets, when you buy shares of a company's stock or you buy a bond, which is essentially a loan to the government or to a corporation, you're actually creating money for those organizations to use to make more money. Okay? And you're going to share in their rewards. But that investment that you're doing actually creates jobs. It actually grows prosperity for everybody around you. So one of the arguments about investing rather than saving is that it's good for all of us. If you have extra money and you can put it into the stocks or the bonds of good companies or good organizations that are doing good things, then that's better for all of us. So besides the selfish reasons to invest, there are some good patriotic reasons to invest as well. Listen, investing, you really need, every situation is different. You need to sit and talk to somebody that really knows what they're doing. But the bottom line on most investing is that it tends to be a long-term proposition. Okay? Very few people, maybe nobody, can predict, if you put your money here today, it will grow to this in 6 months' time or even 3 years' time. But we can make much more accurate predictions when the time periods are 5 years or 10 years or 15 years out. And so for most people, long-term goals, they probably need to be in something besides money at a bank. Probably need to be investing in things that are tailored specifically to their circumstance that'll help them achieve their family objectives over time. I hope this has shed some light on the discussion of investing. I know it's very general, but those are the kinds of things that it's hard to get information on. You can typically find a lot of information about a particular stock or a particular bond. It's harder to get the big picture. I hope we've helped you today. That's another episode of Money Made Easy for Dad's Divorce. Thanks.